right. Good evening, everyone. Evening if you're watching live, but whatever time you're watching us, welcome to another episode of Family Finance Friday. And this show is brought to you by the DJ the Money Coach team and the seven spheres of money systems. Thank you for joining us on another Friday show. Again, if you're watching us live, you know, you're here hanging out with us on a Friday night. Now, as always, before we get into what DJ calls fire tonight, he's bringing the fire. I'm not sure what he has up his sleeve. Of course, we have the title up here, The 4 Secrets for Freedom in 2024, Play Monopoly, Cash Flow, Equity, and Ownership. All I have is the topic. I don't know what type of fire DJ is going to bring tonight, what exactly he has up his sleeve, but he's going to bring the fire tonight, as he told me. So, put on your seatbelts, sit back and relax and get ready. But while he's getting back on the screen, just want to remind everyone, as always, before we get into the topic in tonight's program, just want to remind everyone to like, share, and subscribe so we can, tap into those algorithms and help spread the message, because we're all about helping people become financially free. So if you haven't hit the thumbs up hit up the thumbs up button, not the building. Hit up the thumbs up button as you're coming into the building. Please go ahead and do that. Hit that like button. And if you haven't, hit the share link to share this link with all of your people, at least 5. Share with at least 5 people, friends, family, colleagues. Go ahead and hit that little arrow to share the button. To share the live stream. Send this link to whoever that will benefit from the message that DJ will be delivering tonight. And if you're watching on the replay, go ahead and share this replay with someone that will benefit from this message, so we can help spread the message, spread the word of this movement. This is a movement. The pom-pom lifestyle is not just a lifestyle, but it is a movement. Now, if you're here for the first time, because I know we have a lot of new folks here, a lot of new subscribers, which I'll speak to in a minute. The pom-pom lifestyle is an acronym. It stands for plenty of money and peace of mind. Okay. And with that pom-pom lifestyle is the Beaches of the World Club. And we invite everyone to join us on the Beaches of the World Club. Now, your beach, we have our beaches. Our main beach right now is Zanzibar. But the way we define a beach can be any place. It could be a physical location, or it can be that mindset of tranquility and mental peace, where there's no stress and you're not worried about anything. Now, a lot of subscribers are DJ. I was getting ready to tell the folks that we've had a increase in subscribers, and I see that George Fraser interview is still fire after these few years. A couple of people chopped it up and they've been circulating it around social media, and it's been getting some traction again. So shout out to all the folks that came from watching that interview. But tonight's beach is the 4 Secrets for Freedom in 2024. Play Monopoly, Cash Flow, Equity, and Ownership. And I see DJ went and grabbed some show and tell for tonight. He's getting ready to bring the fire. So, let's turn it up. Let's heat it up, DJ. What you got for us?
Yeah, man. Well, first and foremost, as I always say, Nick, happy TGIF, thank goodness it's Friday.
That's right.
And we hope that everybody has great health. First and foremost, that's the most important thing. We're about to go into a massive consumer holiday. It's no longer the holiday for the purpose that it is and giving thanks to God and sharing with your family. It's now a consumer holiday. It is the apex of holiday spending. So what better way to combat that to teach you the basics in life? And you know, they say the definition of genius is not you have an ability to do complicated things that nobody else can do. Is your ability, Nick, to take complicated things and bring it down to a first grade level where everybody can understand it. That is true genius. And what we're going to try to do tonight is illustrate genius to that capacity. I'm going to show you how we have built over the last 21 years a solid 6-figure passive income and a 7-figure net worth where we have been free 100% since 2008. So if math serves me right, I think that's 15 years, my friend. And what do I mean by that? I mean that just like the title says, the 4 Secrets of Freedom for you in 2024 is that you got to play the game. There's a saying, don't hate the player, hate the game. But you know what? I'm going to give you another DJ-ism. Don't hate the player, don't hate the game. If they beat you, join them. Take the emotion out. Because here's the deal. The game and the blueprint works for those who work it. So don't hate the player, don't hate the game. If you're being beat by somebody, find out the principles that they're utilizing and duplicate them and emulate them and put forth that work. And you too can have the same freedom by doing that. So what I'm going to try to do tonight, well, I'm not going to try. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to show you how I personally went from in the late 90s, over $60,000 worth of consumable debt. If you were to fast forward that to today's dollars with inflation and taxation, that'd be over $120,000 in consumable debt. So I'm going to show you how I took my bitterness when I was in that deep debt, when I was seeing other people win that were working smart and not hard, and I decided to flush the haterade, and I started to get with the Gatorade. And that was a pivotal inflection point in my life. And what that starts with, first and foremost, is that you've got to have the mindset. Those 6 inches between your ears is what either allows you to be the best that God intended you to be or keeps you back in the dark ages. So how can you learn to fulfill your potential in parenting, business, school, relationships? You need to go out and get The Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Dr. Carol S. Dweck. And this has been out for almost 22 years. So the first thing I did, I changed my mindset. And I realized that success is a game. And I can remember, Nick, that I mastered a game that I loved as a child. And that game was Monopoly. I started playing Monopoly, I think, when I was about 5 years of age, and it just fascinated me. And in Monopoly, it's like real life, baby. So what we're going to do, we're going to show you how to play Monopoly in real life. It's just that simple. Now, did I say it was easy? No, it is not. But it is simple. Very easy to understand. So I want you people to chime in with me tonight. Like we did last week, we had a lot of audience participation, and we're going to do it again tonight. So the first thing is, we're going to show you how to be the main man. Real simple. So my children and I, we play this amazing 101. You can play just one against one. Monopoly has had about 1,000 different renditions. This is the best rendition right here. You see that? 2 players battle to trade properties and get rich and win, baby. So we're going to show you how to do that tonight. So if all of you Monopoly players out there realize the beauty of the game, and the reality is this is online too. Check it out. Y'all remember that? Well, let me turn the right side up. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Right side up. That basic board that was created over 70-something years ago is still the same thing. And this goes to the testament of what you just said about a re-spike of Dr. George Fraser's interview. But guess what? When you practice principles and not fads, they always work, Nick. So why should we be surprised that a video of ours is getting reviraled? We built that on principles of success. And in reality, in that video, Dr. George Fraser is doing all the speaking. Because that was just a snippet of the whole entire interview. It really wasn't shining on me, but I was not the person to shine a light on. It was properly for Dr. George Fraser. And that was part of what's called the Financial Expert Series with DJ the Money Coach. So now, let's talk about Monopoly. And how is Monopoly just like life? Well, it's real simple. Guess what? On the board of Monopoly, when you start out first in life, you go through 3 phases. Y'all need to write this down. All right? So if you're in my age group, you're probably past the first phase. The first phase is called struggle. You can equate that in a multitude of different ways. If you're in an urban environment, you really have tough times. So you're going through a whole bunch of things that are psychological and social. If you're in a middle class environment, that means that you're cutting your teeth going through high school and college. You invest in yourself. You learn how to become a man, learn how to become a woman, learn how to become responsible. If you're in the upper class, you're learning how to run mom or dad's business. That's struggle. Typically, most people who are dedicated, they're going to go through a struggle period in their late teens, early 20s. And then you're going to go through the second phase of life, which is called success. So before we put up success, Nick, on the board of Monopoly, what quadrant do you think struggle represents? Would it be Connecticut, Vermont, or would it be Boardwalk and Park Place? Well, we know it's Connecticut and Vermont. So as you begin to play Monopoly and you play the hyper version, which typically in traditional Monopoly, you typically, depend on what rules you play by, you typically got to go around the board one time before you can buy something. So that's equivalent to you going through your struggle. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? So it teaches you to observe the prime real estate. Observe the cost of life. So in Monopoly, as you go down that board, they have a community chest. They have a jail. They have utilities. And then they have the thing that a lot of people like the most is that chance card. And then they have that thing over here called free parking, which most people play. That's like the lottery. So you go around that board. You take out your dice. And you roll them bad boys. So that equates in real life is that you are putting time, effort to go through the struggle. If you're in an urban environment, you're trying to get better as a person and quiet the noise of dysfunction. In a middle class environment, you're trying to get as much education through the college institutions and get internships. In the urban environment, you're working hard labor, maybe working at a fast food place, maybe working as a janitor, maybe working at a bus depot. And at the same time, you're trying to stave off the negative environment. So it's a struggle mentally and physically. In the middle class world, it's more of a struggle mentally, because physically, life is pretty good. But it's not where you want to be because you don't own yourself. You don't know yourself. If that makes sense. So now, the board game of Monopoly, it teaches you go around the board. And the simple equation to win in Monopoly is to acquire houses. Houses. So what you want to do, you roll your dice and then you grab up a house. Now, the first thing I know what you're going to say is, well, hey, DJ, I don't have any money. But guess what? Why should you allow that to stop you? That should build intestinal fortitude and character. And you should be striving to find people who are already doing what you want to do. If you're watching this right now and you're in the urban struggle, the best thing you can do for yourself in an internet world and social media is actually find experts who have done what you're trying to do and who have been through what you've been through. Because here's the thing, it's very hard for us to relate to perfect. We're more akin to relate to struggle. And what you guys need to understand, this is the okie doke that the entertainment industry plays on you, especially young Black people. I'm going to say that again, because they tell you, hey man, you're in the hood and the only way to get out is through entertainment and sports. But they lying to you. Because here's the reality, statistically speaking, 1 in 3 million people become professional sports players, professional entertainers. And when I'm saying professional, I'm talking about the ones that you regale. I'm not talking about the ones who just got a card with the Actors Guild or playing, D3 or some European league. I'm talking about the ones that you regale that are playing in the NFL, who are starring in the movies, who now are big time influencers. So you take them dreams and you start cutting corners because you don't really know the principles of success that are illustrated right on the board of Monopoly. So Monopoly is real simple. Buy 3 houses, and Nick, what do you aim to do when you get those 3 houses, which is called a Monopoly? What is the next upgrade in Monopoly to begin wealth?
You go from those individual houses to the apartments. The big ones.
Boom!
Yep.
The motel, baby.
Yeah, the motel, yep.
And what that represents in real life is you pick up a mobile home, a no money down VA loan, because a lot of times people in the urban sector who get the reality that this is a bad environment, they actually enlist in one of the 5 branches of the military and end up changing their lives. And then they're rewarded if they make it through the hard part. They're rewarded with benefits. VA loans, interest-free, where you can actually scale up at a young age and come out 20 years of service and still be only 38 and have the world by the tail. But if nobody told you that model of success, you may not see the opportunity. So in Monopoly, you go out, you put a couple of your ducks together, and I want to talk to you real quickly to the urban part, because I want to take away all your bull crap excuses. Because guess what? 7 million people came illegally across the border in 2022 and close to 8 million in 2023 just for an opportunity to have a hood life like you. What do I mean by that? I mean, they come from them government benefits, that welfare check. But most of them come to work hard. That only represents about 5-10% of them. You know what most of them do? The good ones, they actually come the right way. They get in line and they put all their earnings together from their other country, and they buy or rent one home dwelling, and they stack their money and go do whatever job it takes. And they know over the long period of time, they win. So there's no excuse for you, brother and sister, to complain about your environment, because you can get out of that if you choose. Been there, done that. So I'm not going to cry Argentina for you. Because at one point in time in my life, my mother, my sister, and I, we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment in the hood after my mother was divorced from my father. We went from middle class to no class in 24 hours. But you know what? My mother never got on general welfare. Never. My mother never complained. She showed the example, and she worked 2 jobs, and she got us out of that predicament in about 24 months. So albeit it was a short period of time in my life, I remember, because I remember my mother never complaining. I remember my mother saying, you're going to this private school still, and this is the way you carry yourself, young man, young lady. Dignity, self-respect. And then my mom worked her way out and got an assistant loan to buy a home. The Nehemiah, the first time buyer program, kept her credit good. So in the process of doing that, I saw my grandfather, who only had an 8th grade education, he started buying homes in the hood. And he started renting those properties to his friends and his peers in the hood. Now, he never sat down with me and told me how he was doing it, why he was doing it. As a man, he just did it. So there's a saying, your children are going to do what you do and not what you say. So real quickly, my grandfather, he amassed several homes just like the Monopoly way. He found opportunities, seller financing, no money down, foreclosures. He wasn't buying the cream of the crop. But guess what? On Monopoly board, the first entry into wealth and the 4 secrets is to buy whatever you can get and learn as much as you can learn. So he amassed a bunch of little small properties. And then when he got those small properties, as Nick said, he upgraded from a residential property to a duplex, to a 3-plex, to a 4-plex. And he realized, because he wasn't, stupid, he was smart, he just didn't have a formal education. He realized that I can get the same value by buying a 4-plex as I can buy a single family house, and the numbers made sense. Thus, the motel. So now he graduated and moved up on the block. You all know how this goes. He now came down here. Get a little bit more pretty colored properties. But one thing he was smart enough to realize, ladies and gentlemen, is that, see, in Monopoly, most of the time, Nick, the people who get these properties right here, they don't win the game. Because the secret to winning in Monopoly, y'all ready for this? It's actually controlling blocks. Controlling the pathway that most people will come down versus the high rise. Because more people going to come through the struggle part of town before they ever get to the high rise, and there's a ton of wealth made in that process. So what my grandfather did, he started buying homes in around blocks within a 1 to 2 mile radius each other, and he understood that if he owned a bunch of houses, when it came to the appraised value, the appraisals or the appraiser would typically be appraising one of his houses and don't even know about it. And since his houses were the best, well-maintained, he got the highest value. Woo! Man, think about that, boys and girls. And here's how the first time we got on a pathway to paying off our debt and getting into wealth, because my high school friend and I, Clarence, we went to Detroit after we bought a couple of properties in Chicago, and we understood what my grandfather showed me. He didn't tell me that, guess what? You can go into an urban environment where prices are deflated, but the rents elevate. And what we did, ladies and gentlemen, we started buying multiple properties in the same neighborhood. And within 2 to 5 years, we accumulated a lot of houses. But most importantly, like Nick said, we ended up owning a lot of multi-units. So much so, ladies and gentlemen, that I mastered Monopoly because I understood I didn't have to buy the $500,000 house. How about I buy 5 $100,000 houses? Or better yet, how about I buy 10 $50,000 houses? But better yet, how about I buy 20 $25,000 houses? But better than that, how about I buy 10 multi-unit houses for that same $500,000 and 10x my income? See, most of you, your first thought is, man, let me go get that $400,000 rental property, because you want to look good. But at the end of the day, I want cash flow. Man, what a great segue. So, real simple. How do we play Monopoly? Monopoly is the entry point to solving your struggle. Okay? In Monopoly, the goal is to take whatever legal, ethical, and moral process you can take to get that one property. And in the process of getting that property, you should study the ups and downs and the strategies of success. What does that mean? You should understand closing costs. You should understand interest, annual principal interest, yield spread principal interest, self-financing, seller's financing. Because most of you in the urban environment, you not only have limited funds, but most of you have bad credit. But if you learn through the process how to navigate through this, what you're going to come to understand, just like in Monopoly, the same principles that you apply to acquire Connecticut and Vermont are the same principles to acquire Boardwalk and Park Place. But let me tell you another little secret. See, on this little one-on-one board, it's not on there. But guess what? What are the reoccurring expenses that you got to pay regardless? You got to have utilities, baby. So there's ways for you to get into the utility game. Then they have on the regular board, the transportation game. Remember those railroads? See, if you smart, you pick up the utilities, you pick up the transportation, you pick up the little small pieces, and then you 1031 exchange yourself into the big league, into cash flow. And I'll explain to you in details what a 1031 is. So again, to get from struggle to success, you go through Monopoly, you pick up 1 piece, 2 piece, 3 piece, and here's the great thing about it. When you get that 1 piece, you don't use that money to live off of. You let that property appreciate, and then you actually refinance that bad boy, pull that money out, and you buy 2, 3 more properties. It's called BRRRR, buy, rehab, rinse, and repeat. So that's Monopoly. And you're striving to get all motels. And when you get those motels, see what Monopoly is not going to tell you, you have actually created passive income. Because every time somebody else goes around that board, in essence, in life, they're traveling through your neighborhood, Airbnb, VRBO, storage centers. That's passive income. So Monopoly never told us what passive income was. It just showed us. So now we had to graduate to the big boy game. And that's when our buddy, Robert Kiyosaki, came onto the scene. How many of you know who Robert Kiyosaki is? It's not many people on this planet that don't know who Robert Kiyosaki is. But do you know when Robert Kiyosaki came out on the scene? He came out on the scene about 98, 99. And Robert Kiyosaki said, hey, let's talk business through the eyes of an accountant. Let's talk cash flow. Man, talk about excitement. Woo, boy. So Robert, again, write this down. Nick, put this up on the screen. The definition of genius is taking complicated matters and making them easy for everybody to understand. And Robert Kiyosaki is the master at this. Because even though Rich Dad, Poor Dad and the Cash Flow 101 was very hard for PhDs, CPAs, attorneys to get out, because they didn't understand one basic thing. They did not understand that an asset and a liability, what the definition is. So let me give you Robert Kiyosaki's definition of an asset. An asset will pay you when you don't work. So again, an asset will pay you. So you buy a house, you rent it out, and the tenant pays your mortgage and pays you passive income. So an asset will feed you when you don't work, and a liability will eat you when you don't work. So what Robert Kiyosaki did, he did something so elementary. He created cash flow for children. And he makes it so simple that they understand that the green pieces are assets. And let me just read it to you. Cash flow for kids, financial statement, balance sheet. Place your green asset cards on the spot. So an asset card, ladies and gentlemen, you would roll the dice. Boom. You would go around the board and you would try to get on a green space that represent asset. And this would be like you're in your life and you're driving through neighborhoods and you're looking for opportunity. You're not looking for the opportunity everybody else sees. You're trying to look for the one that nobody pays attention to. So with the asset card, you pick it up, you turn it over, and then it gives you a scenario. Stocks. Buy 100 shares of growth fund. If you buy, stand up tall. Investment is $900, but add $100 a month to your passive income. Now, Here's a question for everybody. How can a stock be a passive income? Who would like to answer that for me? And if they can't answer it, Nick, would you be kind enough to tell me what type of stock would be a passive income stock?
Well, I don't see any answers yet, so I'll go ahead and answer it and say that would be a dividend stock.
That is correct. Now, Nick, before you met me, did you know the answer to that question, sir?
Probably not. I can't remember that far back, but I probably didn't at that time. No.
So check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what typically happens in the wrong way for people who need money right away. They will buy stocks and pay capital gains and get nothing for it in exchange. So what Robert Kiyosaki did, he said, hey, guess what? I'm going to teach you how to play the game the right way. I'm going to show you what's the right things to buy and what's the wrong things to buy. So he basically shows you how to buy dividend stocks, buy stocks that are high valued. So he'll give you the chance to show you how to do puts and calls. So I'm probably talking a little fast right now, but in essence, if you want to buy a stock and just get the capital gains and jump up ahead to get to the dividend stocks, you want to buy low, sell high, or you want to buy stocks that are devalued because of the economy. But if you look at their annual report, you'll see that they're doing great. So that's a trigger to buy a lot at a cheap price. But if you want to build long-term wealth, you buy dividend stocks and you let them systematically accrue and pay you dividends and passive income quarterly, monthly, semi-annually, or annually. So in essence, you're starting to create cash flow. In order to get free, Robert Kiyosaki's definition is real simple. I'm just going to read it off. Cash flow for kids. If your passive income is more than your expenses, you win. Now, how does that equate to you and I in real life? And how did DJ the Money Coach get out of the rat race in 2008 and be totally six-figure passive income earner, seven-figure net worth? Because I just took this simple concept that Robert Kiyosaki showed me, and I just went out and accumulated equity and ownership in assets that produce cash flow. And I bought low, I sold high, and I stacked up my houses. I turned my houses into duplexes, my duplexes into fourplexes, my fourplexes into apartment buildings, and my apartment buildings, ladies and gentlemen, I turned it to resorts. So the 4 secrets for freedom in 2024 is: first, play Monopoly. Second, develop cash flow. And like this game, he says, cash flow for kids, it's real simple. Land on a spot, pick a card. Here we go. Here's a good one right here. Put me on the screen there, Nick. So this one represents maybe that foreclosure. That one that nobody else looks at. And they said, man, you may buy a rental house, raise the roof, put your hands in the air. It's an investment of $900, but it just created $200 a month in passive income. So what Robert Kiyosaki does, he says, you know what? I'm going to teach you what a balance sheet is. I'm going to teach you what an income statement is. So a balance sheet, ladies and gentlemen, actually, just like it says, it takes all of your income, all of your assets, and you add it up, and it shows you your regular expenses. Okay? It takes your assets and tell you what it is worth in terms of generating your net worth. The income statement tells you what your positive cash flow or what your negative cash flow is. So literally, it'll take your income from your job, which is not passive income. It'll take your expenses, taxes, home mortgage payment, school loan payment, car loan payment, credit card payment, other miscellaneous payments, utilities, everything like that. If you have children, those payments, school, it'll add all those up. And right here, it'll pull them to the side. So let's say you're a lawyer. You make $7,500 a month. This circle right here, ladies and gentlemen, represents passive income. So you can see most attorneys, most doctors, most engineers, they start out with high incomes, but they don't have any passive income. But what you will see that correlates down here on the bottom of the income statement is high expenses. And what they don't realize is that if they keep buying more expensive homes and cars to live and drive, it's going to be harder for them to get out of the rat race or to get free. So what I did was I re-engineered and reversed my track in life, and I downsized my expenses and my doodads. So I literally, ladies and gentlemen, I sold my house. I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment, and I eliminated most of my heavy overhead, and I paid off my student loan. And at that point, ladies and gentlemen, I did one thing that Robert Kiyosaki focused on the most. He said, create a business. The key part in cash flow is not necessarily buying houses, but create a business first. Take that business, then buy property with that business, leverage the tax laws, build up positive cash flow, and in 2 to 5 years, you will be free. That is exactly how I became financially independent. I lowered my expenses, i.e., I took that high car note that I had to show people I was the winner for people who didn't like me, didn't care about me, trying to impress, and I downsized and got rid of that car and got myself a typical average day car that I paid for. I took that $200,000-$300,000 house that was strangling me with the note, the taxes, the expenses, and I got rid of it and I downsized into an apartment. Now, I'm not saying this is what you have to do. You do what's equivalent to you able to get ahead to make the same quantum leap. So in essence, I took 2 steps back, but I took 3 to 5 steps forward because I eliminated my overhead, which Robert Kiyosaki teaches you in cash flow, and I acquired assets. I stopped becoming a consumer. At that point, I created a system when I got free in 2008 called 3 Steps to Success. Build a business, take the top dollar of the business revenue, buy real estate that generate passive income, and invest in other cash flow deals with other businesses and eliminate my expenses, and that got me free. And then I leveraged the tax laws from a corporate structure. See, here's another challenge that Robert shows you in the game, that the lawyer, the doctor, they have extremely high taxes. And since the tax laws changed in 1986-87, they no longer gave you the ability to have phantom tax write-offs as an individual, you had to transfer into a corporation. And when you became a corporation, your tax base went down precipitatively. Essence, very low, flat tax, 15%, 20%. And what you come to find out is that most people in middle class are trapped into that rat hole. So now, in essence, if you can make the transition into a corporation, and there's 8 different entities that the IRS recognizes, and we'll teach you that in the master training. You can immediately transfer over to what Robert Kiyosaki's best book is. It's called the Cash Flow Quadrant. And here's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. On the left-hand side of the quadrant are the suckers. Employee, self-employed. Employee, high income earner, high taxes. Self-employed, paranoid, sharpest person in the room, working 24/7, 365, make a lot of money, stressed out, not a good life. But on the right-hand side of the quadrant, there's the first upper right hand. It's called business. And you create a business and you pay down expenses, and you get all these additional tax write-offs that the other person doesn't get as an employee or self-employed. And now you start accumulate assets, get tax credits, tax write-offs, Cafe Rule 125, where you can write off 100 plus different ordinary and customary tax expenses that you utilize in your regular life, but you don't realize you can take advantage of it and leverage the tax laws in your corporate life. And then you graduate and become an ultimate investor. And that's where I live now. So let me give you an example, how to get out of the rat race. And I'm going to keep it simple. Number one, here's the biggest thing that's going to keep you in the rat race, is what Robert Kiyosaki calls liabilities or doodads. So you land on that, and Robert Kiyosaki says, you just got a raise, so you went out, got some party clothes, increased your lifestyle, you paid everything on consumer credit card, add more debt. Oh, here's the big one here, Nick. You just got that new gig, or you got that new heavy promotion, just went up from 50,000 to 100 grand. And the first thing you do, you start go shopping for that forever house. Now you got that $500,000, $2 million crib. You go from paying $1,500 a month to $4,200 a month. You did not even take in consideration taxes, expenses, and insurance. And now you are hosed. Not only do you do that, you go out and get yourself new luxury bikes. You pay for your friends' dinners and bowling. You go get wave runners and take vacations that you really can't afford, but you look good. And then when Super Bowl comes, you go buy that big 80-screen, 8K television on credit, baby. So Robert Kiyosaki tells you, stop doing that. Cut back on that stuff. And if you really need it that bad, go into the business. So let's assume, for easy math, because what is genius again? Genius is taking complicated financial issues and making them ordinary for a first grader. So let's just assume you make $2,000 a month in income. Your expenses are $4,000 a month. So the first thing that I'm going to teach you in the 4 Secrets of Freedom in 2024, I'm going to teach you how to get yourself on a budget. I'm going to teach you how to take that expensive water, that 6 Series BMW 7 Series, and go down to a Lexus. Instead of getting Fiji water, I'm going to teach you how to get purified water with the same value for half the cost. And I'm going to eliminate them hidden foxes. This is what I literally did. From 2002 to 2008, this is exactly what I did. I got the same stuff that I needed, but I stopped buying the name brand designer stuff that was putting me deeper in the hole and at $60,000 of consumer debt. Then I started taking that money and I started putting it into my debt, paid off my student loan, paid off my car. And then when I paid those off, like Nick had the benefit of, I found myself freeing up several $100s a month. Nick, does this sound familiar?
Yep. Yeah. That's exactly what I did when I was going through the Pay Yourself First program.
So Nick, if you don't mind sharing with us, give us a ballpark when you went through the program, how much money, after you executed the plan to pay off that debt, how much money ballpark did you end up freeing up monthly? Was it 100, 200, 500, 700? How much was it ballpark that first 12 months of you working your plan?
Let me see. I would say for the for my car insurance, I think I cut that in half. So that freed up about $200. So I'm calculating right now. So that's 200. And then when I paid off my car, that was $466 a month. So
so like $700.
Yeah, almost. Yep.
Now let's put a calculator up here, Nick, because we want to show up. Because I hear you, ladies. Oh man, $700 ain't a lot of money. Okay, well let's show you something. You've been with me for 4 years, right, Nick?
Yep.
We'll be barking on 5 years come 2024, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just put up a calculator here. So in the course of 12 to 18 months, ladies and gentlemen, Nick, high educated, high school teacher, historian, he was able to pay off his car, cut his life insurance, cut his auto insurance, get more bang for your buck. You didn't get less, did you, Nick?
Oh no, I got more.
You got more for less, right?
Yep.
What is our mantra, Nick? Tell them what our mantra is as it comes to buying stuff.
we want Neiman Marcus quality at Walmart prices, but we don't like Walmart crap at Walmart prices.
There we go, baby. So check this out, ladies and gentlemen. So Nick followed the plan. First, we put him on a budget. Second, we held him accountable to doing the budget. And once he did that, he freed up $700. So Nick, put $700 up on the calculator.
Yep.
Now, 700 times 12.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! $8,400. Nick, how long you been with us?
Since 2019.
4 years. So let's time that time 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. $33,600. Now, here's the deal. We teach our people, just like we taught Nick, how to make 12% rate of return on all of their stuff. Now, put that $33,600 aside, and let's take the number 72, divide it by 12%, and let's see how long it takes your money to double, Nick. 6 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, by 2025, Nick's $33,600 is going to become $67,200. And all Nick did was get on a budget, follow the budget, freed up the money. Nick, now share with them what type of monopoly and cash flow have you been doing? Because you ain't just been sitting on the money, if I'm not mistaken. What have you done to parlay that money into cash flow? And that cash flow creates equity and ownership, which is the third and the fourth part of the secrets to 2024. Talk to us, Nick.
Right. Well, the backtrack before I even got my assets, I first thing I did was I fully funded my Roth IRA. So that was the first thing, because I got that set up too. So I fully funded. Let me take this calculator off the screen so I can show myself. Yeah, so I fully funded my Roth IRA, which was a gradual process. I started out, I think I started out doing maybe $100 or $200 a month, and then once I freed up those additional funds after I paid my car off, that's when I said, okay, I could fully fund my Roth IRA, put in the max amount each month. So I did that first. Then I started getting into the assets. The first asset that I got for myself was my equity in the DJ the Money Coach company. So I started out as a client in 2019. 2020 comes around about April. So we're a month into the shutdown. I'm just sitting at home, working from home, reading, working out. DJ the Money Coach calls me up and says, Nick, we've been doing this financial education business for almost 20 years in the brick and mortar world, traveling around the country, doing these seminars, doing these trainings. Let's move it online, especially now that everything's shut down. Let's move it online. And I want you to be my business manager. So I agreed to do that, crazy enough to agree to do that. And then as a part of joining the DJ the Money Coach team on the business side, DJ the Money Coach offered myself and the other team members equity in the company. So that was the first asset that I acquired. once I freed up that extra money, I got my equity in the DJ the Money Coach business. And we've had a few opportunities come up over time. Some of them work better than others. But my next major asset that I acquired is our most current one that we've been talking about, over the past year, which is Zanzibar. So I got my equity and ownership in Zanzibar as well. So DJ, I was telling the folks that the first thing I did was fully fund my Roth IRA. Then after that, when we started DJ the Money Coach, the online company, I got my equity in the DJ the Money Coach business. And then I just told them about getting my equity in Zanzibar.
Absolutely. So there's different ways for you to get to financial freedom, and everyone is not for everybody. So what we do for you is actually show you which one is your strategy. And then we show you the principles. Then we show you how to execute the principles. Then we show you opportunities in the cash flow segment of life that, just like Monopoly, you choose which one you're comfortable with, which one you can afford to execute, and then we give you access to those things to provide you with equity and ownership. So the reason why these 4 secrets are so important is because you have to apply them. You have to apply the 4x4. You have to have access to people who've already done it. So this is the part of the program where we give you 3 questions that you should ask people, and we're going to take a quick break. The first question is, when somebody's trying to promote to you, sell you something, product, service, asset, whatever, question is, what equity and ownership do you personally have in what you're trying to market to me, sell me, or have me partner with you? In essence, in your vernacular, show me your receipts. That's number 1. Number 2, the most important part is what Nick just said on the end of his story. Now that you show me that you have equity and ownership in what you're showing me and it's legitimate, boom. Now, how can I get access and how can I execute to get the same results that you have? That's question number 2. How do I get access to execute my dream, my plan? DJ, how can I take these 4 secrets of freedom and get free in 2024? Well, the first thing is we're going to teach you how to play Monopoly. 1 house, 1 asset at a time. Then we're going to show you how to put that into a accounting asset format in the cash flow quadrant. And when we show you how to do that, we're going to give you opportunities of 7 different asset classes to give you equity and ownership. And the funny thing about it, it can be just as simple as you acquiring a dividend stock. It can be as simple as you acquiring a certificate of depreciation, but that may be good for you where you are, because you also have to apply some common sense. It's called crawl, walk, run your way to permanent financial success. Not microwavable IG success, but real fundamental success. Just like if you saw us when we opened up the show and Nick say, wow, our video from 4 years ago is going viral again. The reason why it's going viral, ladies and gentlemen, is because we built it on principles of success, not fads. So now we're going to take you into these principles of success, and we're going to just show you the fruit on the tree. So right now, you're watching the 4 secrets for freedom in 2024. What are they? Play Monopoly, generate cash flow, and acquire equity and ownership in a proven system called the 7 Spheres of Money. We'll be right back in this episode of Family Finance Friday with DJ the Money Coach and Nick Westbrooks. Stay tuned.
Debbie, and I'm actually a project manager here in Texas, and we just had a conversation with DJ the Money Coach. So appreciative of his time. He really went above and beyond during the holiday season to come and talk to me. And I'm really excited because I'm really serious about being a real estate investor, growing my business. I learned about credit and my debt and how to go from working in my business to on my business.
Everyone. My name is Tajir. I'm a young professional from New York. I just want to give a big shout out to DJ, the money coach. I had a consultation call with him and it was amazing. I learned about so many things from insurance to buying real estate and getting leverage on transactions to tax loopholes, tax.
DJ, the money coach, along with his team, for providing valuable gems to help me get on a successful financial path. And yes, I am ready for that pom-pom lifestyle.
Hello everyone, I am Gamaliel. I came here to recommend DJ the Money Coach's Back to the Basics bundle. So I think that this bundle / course is a great way to get started in terms of learning how to manage the money and getting into finances and actually understanding what's going on with your money.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Family Finance Friday. Tonight is the 4 secrets for freedom in 2024. Play Monopoly, generate cash flow, and acquire equity and ownership. And that will get you the foundation to become financially independent. And when you double that up, you'll become financially wealthy in 2 to 5 years. We don't have anybody that plugs into our system religiously and follow the steps and emulate the principles of success that in 2 to 5 years, they don't make $250,000 a year. Why is that? Because we are giving them principles. We're giving them access, execution, and then we're giving them access to 7 different asset classes. What are those 7 different asset classes? I hear you. Number 1, we start you with the real simple stuff. Access to mobile homes, residential property. Okay, that's 2. Duplexes, apartments. That's 4. Then we step up to the big leagues. We go to investing in other businesses for cash flow. Then we take you to the big leagues, and that's actually investing into mobile home parks and resorts. So those are the 7 different asset classes that we have available for people who are serious about attacking their freedom and applying the 4 secrets for freedom in 2024. Now, this ain't easy, but it is simple. And the main thing is there's no price you can put on the pom-pom lifestyle. You know, that's plenty of money, peace of mind. Now, again, my story is different from your story, but the principles that we emulate and duplicate are not. They're the same for everyone. You could be someone that only have $10,000 worth of debt. You could be someone that's got $250,000 worth of debt. If you take a step back and apply these 4 secrets for freedom, you'll build the foundation and you'll start to earn your freedom in 2024. And in 2 to 5 years, you'll be completely free. Because the first way to get financially independent is going back to what Robert Kiyosaki says. First thing is you have to be astute on following the market. Okay. The second thing is, as you start to elevate, you want to get access to major deals that we call pocket deals that are not on the regular market. And you want to keep your eyes open for the big deal. The big deal. See, like in this one, this is a great example. Limited partner. Invest $20,000 down payment and get immediate $1,200 cash flow. That's just like syndications. Pull your money together, take down a big deal, get a percentage. So you may have 800 credit score and may only have $10,000, but I may not have an 800 credit score, but your credit score can enable me to take down a deal, but I got 100 grand. And now I give you a great equitable position as a limited partner, as I'm the GP, and we go in and slay the dragon together. And we do that through the principles of what we live by. Number one, cooperative economics. That's when like-minded people come together economically and play monopoly, cash flow, equity, and ownership. Number two, we leverage our professional networks. We work with other professionals and build strong, powerful networks so we roll like a herd instead of individual. The third one is we take ecosystems and we pair them with other ecosystems. And we create an interdependent relationship so we can scale up. And then when you start to scale up, then massive opportunities come on the equity and ownership side. Because in today's market, we're in a recession. So inflation is up. Interest rates are up. Access to credit is limited. But if you can pull together $10, $20, $50,000, you can still get into multi-million-dollar deals. How do I know? I give you 3 guesses and the first 2 don't count because we do it all the time. We just did it recently with a soon-to-be multi-million dollar venture called Grab TV that we met in my network through Microsoft. So if you are that person that's watching this right now live or in the replay, and you're seriously about acquiring your freedom in 2024, then you need to apply these principles of success. But first, you need to hitch your truck, your car, your house up to somebody who has serious equity and ownership in what you're striving to do. The second thing is that somebody has to be willing to give you access to execute your dreams to their professional network, their ecosystem. And number 3, you got to do the hardest part. You got to join. And that means whenever you find the right system for yourself, the right mentor, the right partners, it doesn't have to be us. However, I will tell you, dollar for dollar, pound for pound, in the professional middle class, we have more access, stronger networks, and better transparency than anybody we've met. How do we know? Because we have done business with a multitude of great institutions that are not Fortune 50, but Fortune 1. So let's do this, Nick. Pull up our website. Because right now, most of you that are watching this, because the numbers I see, they're fluctuating. We're spiking high, then we come down low. Because you got to be willing to do the dirty work. There's no shortcut to success. You should never navigate the price of success. What you should do is heavily vet the professionals, the systems, the businesses that you work with. And when you do that, you should jump on board. So, Nick, we just want it right here. That's a letter of acknowledgement and accommodation from the state of Michigan. Let's just scroll down to some of our past and present clients. So this is called the vetting process. There we go. Any of these companies look familiar to you? We have at some point in time worked with them in the past, worked with them in the present, and working with others in the future. And like all things, once you find out that they truly have equity and ownership, and you find out they truly have sincere access to execute your dream, then all you have to do is apply. Because guess what? Right now, you're being bombarded with thousands of commercials about consumerism for Black Friday, and the average person that's in the middle class will spend $1,000 during Black Friday weekend. Now, that's the average person. The elite person is going to spend thousands. And here's the sad part. The person in the urban community, they're going to spend just as much as elite people on credit that they don't have and going to put themselves so far underneath the bridge, they're not even going to be able to make it. But they're going to look good and smell good for about 30 minutes. And like George Fraser says in that video, Negroes, they plan for Friday night and Saturday night. In the other communities, they plan for 5, 10, 15, and 20 years. Which one you going to be? So, Nick, let's take some questions from our people. If they like to ask a question, you can ask a question, because these 4 secrets for freedom in 2024, guess what? They worked in 2002. They worked in 2008. They worked in 2012. They worked in 2019. And they actually accelerated for us during the pandemic, because we already put the foundation in. And in the process, they worked so well for us that it put us in position to what Nick told you about, is to buy into and build a multi-million-dollar luxury residential resort in the beautiful #1 tourist destination in all the continent of Africa called Zanzibar. So you know what, Nick? While we're giving the people a chance to pop in some questions, why don't we go to our next break and show them what we can show them? So right now, you're watching Family Finance Friday with Nick Westbrooks and DJ the Money Coach. And today's story is to offset Black Friday consumerism and flip the script into having wealth created by the crawl, walk, run process with the 4 secrets of freedom in 2024. That's right. I'm going to teach you how to play Monopoly in a live training. We're only doing 1 for the rest of the year. And we're going to teach you how to play Monopoly in the real world. We're going to show you how to convert Monopoly 1 property at a time, 1 utility at a time, 1 asset at a time into massive cash flow. And we're going to show you how to take cash flow and parlay the 3 steps of success, which is create business, take the dollar gross revenue from your business, acquire real estate, properties, apartments, duplexes, triplexes, resorts, mobile home parks, and leverage the tax laws and acquire massive equity and ownership, where we'll help you create in 2 to 5 years, but in 30 days, we will lay the foundation for you to create $8,333 a month in passive income, while we rapidly decrease your expenses and systematically increase your cash flow through acquiring the right assets. And then you can look up in the next 2 to 5 years, just like Nick, just like hundreds of people that we work with, and you could walk away from your 9 to 5 and walk into the land of the free and never be employable again in your life, because you'll be debt free, your house will be paid off, and you accumulate assets that will allow you to do whatever you want, when you want, how you want, and you can really enjoy the pom-pom lifestyle movement, which is plenty of money, peace of mind. So we'll be right back after this next commercial break, and we're going to wrap this thing up so you too can have the 4 secrets for freedom in 2024. Play Monopoly, generate cash flow, and acquire as much equity and ownership in everything you do, instead of being a consumer and a lemmy for the Black Friday ripoff. We'll be right back. What's happening, everybody? Black Friday is here. I'm giving you 2 master vacations on a bucket list to Zanzibar. That's right. I'm going to give you a 7-day, 6-night stay in our luxury condominium on the top floor on the Indian Ocean in Zanzibar for only 3 installments of $499. Once you complete that trip, I'm going to throw in another free trip for 4 days and 3 nights, absolutely free. You can take any time in 2024. All you have to do is hit that link and come take a bite out of Zanzibar. I'll see you on the beaches of the World Club. Happy Black Friday. All right, welcome back. You're watching Family Finance Friday with DJ the Money Coach and Nick Westbrooks. And tonight's episode is about the 4 secrets for freedom in 2024. Play Monopoly, build cash flow, and acquire equity and ownership in everything. And you can earn your way to financial freedom in as easy as 2 to 5 years if you're willing to put the work in. If you're willing to put the work in, be disciplined, show accountability, plug into a proven system of success, which is the 7 spheres of money, and do the work, in 2 to 5 years, you can have the same amount of freedom. The first thing is become financially independent. And financial independence definition is take your current expenses, meet them with passive income, which usually takes about 12 to 24 months. And then from there, doubling them in the next 2 to 5 years, and you'll become financially independent on your way to financial wealth and multi-generations. And that's what we strive to do. So anybody have any questions or any comments that they want to share with us, Nick? Or tonight we just got people silent and they just, so in the ether that they already spending all their money on the Black Friday, tsunami that comes every year this time.
I mean, it's probably that. I don't see any questions or comments yet.
Cool. No problem. Hey, man, I'm just here to share the gospel. And our thing is real simple, ladies and gentlemen. If we can save one person, we can save the world. So if you're watching this again live or in the replay and it's now starting to resonate with you, let me just keep it real simple. Here's how you get yourself on the pathway to financial independence. Number 1, go back to your Monopoly board. Pull it out. Play it. You're going to go through a struggle. Then you're going to have some success. And then you're going to win Monopoly by becoming significant. In order to become significant, that means you help other people become successful. So we're in the significant phase of our lives. But we used to be in the struggle phase back in the mid to late 90s. And then we ventured on some principles and we saw and met, awesome Robert Kiyosaki. I watched my grandfather with an 8th grade education buy little properties in the hood and build them up and stack them up. He never told me, he just did it. So then I figured out. So I flushed that, fake dream that America was selling me, get the college education, get the big house, get the expensive car, and be strung like this for the rest of your life because you're constantly chasing them doodads. And I say, hey, you know what? Let me reverse engineer this bad boy, get rid of the big paying house, the big expensive car, and let me get the millionaire next door mentality and stop trying to be sexy for people who don't even like me that I don't even like. And then I put my head down for 2 to 5 years. In 2002, I paid off all my debt. And then 6 years later, in 2008, I achieved the ultimate freedom. 6-figure passive income, 7-figure net worth. And from there, we've been slowly growing systematically. Have we had some setbacks between those times? Absolutely. But we already knew the system. We already knew the model. So we just rinse and repeat. So what we're going to show you in a live training is how to do those things. And then reward yourself with an amazing trip to Zanzibar. Because we're literally going to show you how we started with our first house, our first duplex, our first apartment complex, our first business endeavor where we invested in other businesses. And we're going to take away all the excuses, the rationales, the justifications, and the reasons for you not to succeed. Because as long as you have your health and you have an open mind and you're willing to work with people who have the proven receipts with equity and ownership, we can get you to crawl, walk, run your pathway to freedom through these 4 secrets in 2024. So I'm just excited. The Thanksgiving holiday is upon us next Thursday. Black Friday is the day after that. We will be live. We will have some other goodies for you. And this live class will be held I think is going to be held on Saturday, December 2nd, I think it is. Yep. Saturday, December 2nd. You don't want to miss it. If you are serious about getting free, if you make $1 million but got 1.5 in debt and you don't have, $83,333 a month in passive income, you need to be in the class. And why am I talking to you? Because guess what? Our network goes as high as $3.5 billion. That's right. We have a very deep network over 25 years in 7 different asset classes. And we get in and help people as little as thousandaires. Because I used to be a thousandaire. I used to be a negative 60,000aire. And that's one thing that you can take to the bank, because guess what? Nick's seen where I came from. Real talk. But now we have business relationships with Microsoft on the corporate side. We have business relationship with Chase Bank on the corporate side. We have business relationships with the regional Montgomery Airport in Alabama on the business side. Credit unions on the business side. Texas High School Sports Coaching Association on the business side. So I actually teach, train, and educate all kinds of professionals. This right here, largest high school sports coaching association in the world. And guess what? Inside of that bad boy is yours truly. See that right there? That's me. Right there. That is I. So I actually teach, train athletic directors, high school coaches on finances. I actually teach and train CFOs of Fortune 1000 companies on finances. So if I can teach them, what do you think I can do for you? Think about it. I would have never thought that in 1994 that having my car repoed at the dealership that I worked at, that I will be sitting here today excited to tell you about that story. But that experience catapulted me to getting serious about my life, because I was chasing the same material, image, dream that Americans have been taught for the last 4 or 5 decades. And then I realized I was climbing up the wrong ladder, and I was in corporate rooms with people I didn't like, didn't care. And I decided to cut that cord and go down a different pathway. It's called the road less traveled. And this program, ladies and gentlemen, is only for those. But I can tell you this, when I got on that road less traveled and everybody was laughing and trying to clown me because they were still chasing that other one and they were doing better in their mind's eye because they had bigger doodads, is what Robert Kiyosaki calls it. I was just knocking down my debt quietly, putting that work in, working my plan, rinsing and repeating it, and then I got free, and the rest is history. And some of my best friends who were engineers, IT professionals, here's the irony of it, ladies and gentlemen. Those same people who laughed at me when I got out of corporate America, some of them end up coming working for me. Facts. And I don't say that as a brag, because I was happy and fortunate to help them out through tough times. But because I had a dream and I reached out and found myself a real mentor who had the fruit on the tree through equity and ownership, and I was just naive or dumb enough to believe him after I did my research. And I realized that if God gave them freedom, he would give it to me too. And that's what we want to offer you. So if this is for you, plug in. I would teach you personally in our last master training on December 2nd, step by step, you can have a $250,000 income. If it's not passive, you get hurt tomorrow, it goes to zero or whatever policy you got that'll be around for a short period of time. The average life insurance policy is spent in 3.7 years. If you have a small business that really isn't a small business, you're really masquerading because you're really a sole proprietor, because you don't have systems, operations, marketing, and those things, which is the essence of the 7 spheres of money system. I'll show you how to actually build that the proper way. And yes, I'm talking to you people on the internet that you could be an influencer making $300, $400, $500, $700, $1 million a year. But if you don't have the structure like a Fortune 500 company, you say something that they don't like on these platforms, they shut you down, you out of business. Or forget about not doing anything wrong, but if you get hurt, your income goes to zero. Let us show you the 8 different entities that the IRS recognizes. Then let us show you the tax laws that can afford you almost tax-free returns on your capital gains. Then let us show you, for you sophisticated investors or your accredited investors, how to actually invest in startups and take advantage of this little small tax code called 1202. Then let us show you how to protect your wealth through this other little small tax code called 7202. Then let us show you, you small enterprises, as you working through the struggle to success, let us show you Cafe Rule 125. These are all superior tax codes for the business people that the other guy never knows about. How do I know? I have an accounting background. My inner circle are people who are 7-figure and 8-figure earners who own massive assets. That's not a brag. That's just the circle that I was blessed to work my way into. I didn't get into that circle yesterday. It took me several years to earn my way into that circle. And what I'm doing is open up that circle to you. So last week was more about, giving praise and honor to the veterans. This week is about combating the number one beast in America, which is consumerism and materialism, and offset that with equity, ownership, cash flow, and monopoly, and giving you the 4 secrets of freedom in 2024. So I've shared with you all that we need to share with you. If you are the person that wants to take advantage and get access to an amazing network and put yourself on the pathway, if you at 150,000, but you don't have 150,000 in passive assets and you want to get there, the 4 secrets for freedom in 2024 is for you. If you're the person right now, you're making $25,000 a year and you're 21 years of age, the 4 secrets for freedom in 2024, it's really for you. And here's the reality of it. And what Robert Kiyosaki illustrated in his game, it's easier for the person that makes less money to get out of the rat race than a person makes more, because the person with more, they got more credit, more debt, and more image. The person that doesn't, they can get out and get on the fast track even quicker. And that's what I did when I realized that if I can downsize, get my needs met, I could get out of the rat race quicker than being in an overpriced house in a luxury foreign automobile. And here's the irony. I have all that stuff now today. But here's the great part about it. Those things are paid for by businesses that generate passive income that afford me legitimate tax write-offs. So you're watching Family Finance Friday with DJ the Money Coach. We've given you the 4 secrets for freedom in 2024. And the 4 secrets are real simple. Play Monopoly. Go dust off your Monopoly board and figure out how to win in Monopoly. But what are the basics of Monopoly to become the winner? And a lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, it's not you going after Boardwalk and Park Place. A lot of times it's acquiring the blocks, a corridor, so you can have somebody trapped that you plan against that they can't get down that corridor, and you get all their money before they get around to Boardwalk and Park Place. Then we're going to show you how to master the cash flow quadrant. if right now you're watching this and listening to me and you're on the left side of the quadrant, you're an employee and you're self-employed and you're a high paid employee, you're paying high taxes. 40, 50, 60% of your gross income is being taxed. If you're self-employed, you're working 24/7, 365 in a realm of paranoia. And if something happens to you, your self-employment is out the window because you don't have passive income. You want to get over to the right side of the cash flow quadrant and be a business system that acquires assets systematically that pay you regardless if you work or not. And then you want to elevate yourself to the ultimate investor. And it took me, albeit 8 years, to get that done because I started on my journey about 2000. 2002, I paid off all my consumable debt, got my credit score up to 800, and 6 years later, I became financially independent and secure for the rest of my life. And it wasn't easy, ladies and gentlemen. It was simple, but now we have made it actually easier and simpler if you're willing to plug into the system. And if our system isn't the one for you, plug into one that works. That's the key part. But it's all the same. You have to take your regular reoccurring expenses and you have to match them with passive income. And once you've done that, you need to double it, and then you have financial independence. Once you double it, you will start getting into rooms that you normally wouldn't get into, and then you'll have the ability to quadruple it because you have access to execution, and that's what we can give you. So, thank you for watching Family Finance Friday with DJ the Money Coach and Nick Westbrooks, and we just shown you through illustration the 4 secrets for freedom in 2024. Play Monopoly. Accumulate cash flow. Buy equity and ownership in everything you do, and you now become a prosumer, and now you can enjoy those commercials on Black Friday, and you can spend conscious free anything you want because it's not a doodad anymore. So come along with us and enjoy the pom-pom lifestyle, which is plenty of money, peace of mind, and come travel with us around the beaches of the World Club. And you know where to come, baby. Come to Zanzibar for our grand opening and take advantage of our amazing Black Friday opportunity because you deserve it if you've done everything right. So good night. God bless. Wish you great health. And we'll see you next time.
Hello, we're the Dances, and we just had our first session with DJ, the Money Coach, and it was a very informative session in which I am glad that we are participating in. It gives us an opportunity to be good stewards of our resources, the monies in which we have been working our lives for, in a sense. To utilize them better, to make them work for us. I think I like the point where there's a team of people that will be working on our behalf, not just one individual, but a resource of different individuals in their expertise area to help us to manage our resources.
And I am Tim Dance, and Janice's husband. And I was not only fascinated with the fact of the team concept of working with our finances and covering all areas, but also DJ brought up the fact about our mortgage. And so I was quite enthused about how we can retrieve money back that we had paid in on a mortgage. So it's gotten some enlightenment as far as the difference in the 30-year and the 15-year, whereas the 30 years front-loaded, with those high assessment fees. And so I'm looking forward to hearing about how we can retrieve that money which we have paid in, even though it may be at a higher tax rate. or a higher interest rate, shall I say. But I'm looking forward to that. So
Yeah.
I think it's worth your while to get invested with DJ the Money Guy and his team.
Right. And I'm looking forward to learning more about my TSP plans. I'm looking forward to retirement and the best way to use those resources, ensuring that I have sufficient funds available to me for retirement.
What's happening, everybody? Black Friday is here. I'm giving you 2 master vacations on a bucket list to Zanzibar. That's right. I'm going to give you a 7-day, 6-night stay in our luxury condominium on the top floor on the Indian Ocean in Zanzibar for only 3 installments of $499. Once you complete that trip, I'm going to throw in another free trip for 4 days and 3 nights, absolutely free. You can take any time in 2024. And all you have to do is hit that link and come take a bite out of Zanzibar. I'll see you on the Beaches of the World Club. Happy Black Friday.